Hello guys, good day everyone. This is the Creators Lodge and you are welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time coming across my channel, please do well to like this video, do well to subscribe, and please turn on the notification button so when next I upload a tutorial video like this, YouTube will notify you. Alright guys, in today's tutorial I'm going to be showing us the breakdown of this design. Now this is a church flyer design and the theme is break free. So as usual, I'm going to be explaining to us the storyline behind this design, the inspiration. I'm going to be showing us the storyline of this design and the inspiration behind this design. Now when you look at this design, it says break free. When you look at the text, when you look at the background, when you look at the composition, everything works together, everything blends together in communicating that single message, which is freedom. That single message, which is freedom. Now, when you look at the background at the top, you are going to see the chain. All right, you're going to see the chain background here, more like a chain that is broken. Can you see that? At this angle here, you're going to see the chain background. So let me create a new layer. So I'm going to use the brush tool. So I want to use the brush tool to reveal to us the chain. So when you look at this place, yeah, you're going to see right here there's a split, or the chain scattered, you know, right here. So it speaks about the break free. It speaks about the break free. Now, one way to make your design look amazing is when you do not follow the normal way, the normal route of doing the design. When you do something, you know, people are not expecting. So every time you do something people are not expecting, you create that cut in your design. All right, you catch the attention of the viewers. So for instance, this is a background, right? So let me hide this layer. I'll make that layer invisible. So I'm going to bring in, so I want to show you guys the chain background, what it looks like, and I want to show you guys what I did. All right, so let me bring up the chain background. Now when you look at this chain background, you see what it looks like. So I got this background from Pinterest. So let me change. So this is the normal background. All right, this is the normal background. I got this background from Pinterest. All right, now this is the color of the background. You can see it has this blue kind of color. Now this is not exactly the quality of the chain. You know, in my previous tutorial I revealed to us how to use backgrounds that you downloaded from Pinterest, or that you download from Pinterest. All right, I revealed to us how to effectively use backgrounds like that on your design. If you have watched the previous tutorial that I uploaded on my YouTube channel, you will see where I made use of the smart filter, which is the filter gallery, all right, which is the glass effect. All right, now I'm going to hide the filter I used for this design. Now when you look at this chain, you can see how blurry it is. You can see that the quality of the chain is not looking okay. All right, you can see that. All right, now the generic way of doing this design is for me to go ahead, place this chain here, and then let me disable. I'm going to disable the layer marks. So once I disable the layer marks, the image has gotten from Pinterest. This is the way the image is. All right, so I added gradient overlay. All right, I blended this image. So I'm going to reveal the gradient. All right, now the generic way of doing something like this, the normal way of doing something like this, is after blending the image, you just place it on this background like this, and then you go ahead to start adding your other details. So you just place it like this. But another way to create this design is to give it, you know, a little spicing, change the method, do something people are not expecting. All right, and that's the reason behind this. So you can see that chain, you know, it's amplified from that red hot background. You can see the red hot background amplifying the chain, amplifying the breaking of the chain. So I did not go through that generic route of just placing the background like this, having this blue, you know, this blue background. the way I got it from Pinterest, or even go as far as, let me show you guys another method, some designers can do. So you click on your layer, you click on new adjustment layer, you click on hue and saturation, and then you click OK. Now this is my hue and saturation. I can manipulate it from here. So what I'm going to do is I want to change the hue, because this is blue, our background is red. So I want to change the chain color to red, all right, so that it can blend well with the background. So I'm going to right click on this layer, right click, and then create clipping mask. Now the reason why you're creating clipping mask is so that any effect, the hue and the saturation, will only affect just this break free image and not affect every writing on your image. For instance, if I don't create clipping marks, let me change the hue. So if I move the hue, you can see that the hue of my design is also changing. So, and that's not the goal. The goal is to just change the hue of this chain background. So I have to right click on this layer and create clipping marks. So whatever change I make, whatever hue I manipulate, is going to affect just this background. It's not going to affect every other part of my design. All right, so now when I click on this hue and I move, I'm trying to get the red feel of the hue, something like this. So this is another way another designer would decide to make use of this chain background. You change the hue of the chain background and then place it here, and then place your text and then start moving. But I decided to do something different that viewers would not expect that I would do. All right, that's the idea, that you will not expect it. So you see the chain speaking out of the red hot background. You can see that red hot color. All right, it's evolving from that red hot color. All right, and when you look at the text also, so I'm going to delete this here. So when you look at the text also, let me see this layer, I'm also going to delete it. So when you look at the text, you're going to see the text break free. Now there's a split. So let me create that layer and show us what I mean. Now when you look at it, you will see this split here, more like a curve. Can you see that? Now you see the split here again, more like a curve. It's showing a break in the text. Now the color combination here is different from the color combination here, but it's the same text. The color combination here is also different from the color combination here. However, it's the same text. So further emphasizing the theme, break free. And another idea behind this text, me creating this text like this, is to ensure that I don't just have a generic text, just have a generic text of just white color of the break, white color of the free. So another way to grab the attention of your viewers is to create a manipulation on your text. But whatever manipulation you're creating on your text, you must ensure that it does not disrupt the message. It still further emphasizes the message. You must not disrupt the message. So for instance, I can say that one of the reasons why you got attracted to this flyer, immediately you came across the flyer either on my YouTube, either on my Instagram, or my WhatsApp, or my Facebook. One of the reasons I can boldly say that one of the reasons why you got attracted to this flyer is because of this manipulation on this text. So one of the reasons, there are many reasons. Another reason why you got attracted to this flyer is because of this chain, how it looks on the background. So these things drew your attention, you love the flyer, and then you decided that let me watch this tutorial and see how this designer did this. All right, so when you are creating your text, if you watched my previous tutorial also, you will hear me say this also. All right, that when you are creating your text most times should not just be plain. Now there are designs where your text can be plain, all right, there are times when it's allowed, but sometimes part of the things that spice up your design is when you ensure that your text is not plain. So break is not plain and free is also not plain. Now, but these are plain text. I just did some some little manipulation on it, which I'll reveal when I begin to reveal the layers. All right, and then the next thing is the alignment. Now when you look at this design, I'm going to show you guys alignment on this design, which is something amazing that every graphic designer needs to pay attention to. Now I looked at this design, I thought of making use of this format. There's another format that I can literally use, other designers can use. And that format is the break free. The break free can literally be in the middle. So why do I have to align this to the right? Why do I have to align the break and the free to the right and then the venue to the right? This break free can be center, have that center alignment. But I decided that for this design, the best method to use is the right alignment for this design. So you can see every detail, you find it on the right hand side of this design, and then you find the guest minister rightly placed at the left hand side, the bottom of this design, giving it that amazing look. All right. And then you see the letter K and the letter E aligns together. And then when you come to this side of this design, you see the letter F of the free aligns with grace, aligns with the venue, aligns with the time and the dates, and it also aligns with the logo. Now you can see how that it aligns with the logo. Now this logo is not exactly in the middle of this design, because if I bring this logo to the middle of this design, all right, if I make this logo stay in the middle of this design, the alignment pattern is going to break. So the alignment pattern is going to be disrupted. So I had to ensure that the name of the church is rightly aligned with the letter F and rightly aligned with the letter G and the other details. All right, and then look at the background. You see some subtle effects on the background of this design, and then look at the fire effect. All right, look at the fire effects at the bottom of this design. Everything works together, everything spicing the design. All right, so with all this being said, I'm going to reveal the layers of this design right now. So I'm going to delete this. Now what you need to get is the size. So file, I'm going to show you guys the size. So image and image canvas size. So I made use of the width 3000 and the height 3500. Like I said in my previous tutorial, this is not a standard. All right, I just love using this because it works best for my Facebook, it works best for my Instagram, works best for my WhatsApp and all my other platforms. All right, on my Pinterest, it also works best on my Pinterest. So I love using this size for my design, when I want to post designs on social media. But if you want to print out the design, you need to get a specific size like A4 size, A5 size, A3 size, and other sizes. All right, now having created your size, the next thing is I added the gradient field, and I'm going to show you guys the gradient field. And this is the gradient field. So I'm going to click inside of this circle. Yeah, I'm going to click inside of this circle. So how do you add the gradient field? You come to this icon here. All right, you click on your icon at the bottom here, and then you see something. You see gradient. So you click on gradient. All right, and another way you can create gradient without going through that route is you click on new layer. All right, you click on new layer, and then you click on letter G. All right, on your keypad or on your keyboard, or you can come to this side, you right click, and then you see gradient, you see color. So you click on gradient. Now once you click on gradient, you will see the color layer at the top of your screen. So you can click inside of it, and then you begin to choose your color here. So you click this first one, you click the color, you pick whatever color you want to use. So this is the color code I used for the red. You can copy it, 550101. All right, and then you click this other side, and then you click on color. So the other color code I used is black, and then you click OK, and then you click OK. All right, so I'm showing you another method in case you can't go through this gradient method. So let's assume there's no gradient here. So I've picked my gradient color already. I've chose the color I want to use. So I click OK, and then the next thing is you come to this side. All right, so this is it's trying you need to pick what pattern you want the gradient to be in. All right, so if I click on this first icon here, and then I hold my shift, all right, on my keyboard, and then I drag down like this, it's going to make the gradient to be red at the top and black at the bottom. All right, so but I want this gradient to be circular form, so I'm going to click on this second icon here, radial form. So I will hold my shift, and then I drag down, and then you have something like this. All right, and okay, let me see this. Okay, so you have something like this. So it helps you create the circular form. So there are other forms here. All right, so this is another one. You can try this out, but this is too sharp and this is not really cool to use. All right, so this is the next one. So you can use this, something like this, and then this is I've forgotten the pattern that this is called, but sometimes I make use of this too. Most likely I'll use this in my next tutorial. So this is also an amazing way of creating gradients. All right, but usually when I want to create gradient fill for my background, I don't go through this gradient route. You come to the bottom part of your design, you click on that icon, all right, that says create new fill or adjust layer, and then once you click on it, you're going to see solid color, you're going to see gradient. You click on gradient and then you choose whatever gradient you want to use from this icon. You manipulate the same way as revealed, and then you are good to go. All right, so I'm going to make the gradient layer visible. So now the next thing I went ahead to do is to bring in this background. Now if you have watched the last tutorial that I uploaded, you would have seen this background. As part of the background I used, like I said, I got this background from Pinterest. All right, so this is the background, but as usual I erased the part of the hand and the chains. All right, I erased that part and I just need the fire effect, which is at the bottom of the design. All right, so that's the part I just needed, and I've reviewed in my previous tutorial how to erase backgrounds. All right, so I'm just going to do that again. So let me delete this layer. So if you want to erase, all right, at the bottom here you will see create layer marks. So I'm going to create a layer marks, and then I'm going to click on G, which is gradient, or you can come to this side of your keyboard, or you click on letter G, and then you have that gradient fill. Now you click inside of that your gradient color, and then I already have my presets already, which is black. All right, and you can also manipulate it here. Let's assume this is the color before. You can click here, you change this color to black, you change this color also to black. Then at the top here, which is opacity, you allow this opacity to be at 100, and then you change this to 0. So this is it. So this is black color here, and then the opacity is 100, and then when you come here, this is also black color, but the opacity here is going to be 0. So you are going to have a gradient kind of, you're going to have a gradient. So you click OK, and then you place your mouse here, and then you hold the shift, and then you drag down. All right, but if you notice, it's giving that radial blend, that circular blend, and that's because I've not changed the pattern from here at the top here. So I have to click this so that the pattern can change to normal. So I'm going to click on shift and hold down, and then hold down again, and then drag down. So that's how you erase. So I'm trying to erase the hands and the chain. So once you do that, you're good to go. So I'm going to click center, place this at the middle, disable this, then I'm good to go. All right, so that's the first thing. And then the second thing is my text, and this is the text, the break free text. Now I'm going to show you guys how I created this text. All right, so this is the text. All right, so this is the text. This is the text, pure just a text, nothing more. All right, and the typeface I used is the big shoulder display, and the font is the big shoulder display black. All right, so big shoulder display black. So this is it, big shoulder display black. That's the typeface I used. All right, that's what I used. Now coming to the color, you see the color here. I used this color. The color is kind of this hot red color, right? So 951313. Right, that's the color I used. So how did I get that that effect on the text? So what I did was I added eclipse shape. Now I added eclipse shape, so I'm going to click this eclipse shape so that you can see. So I added eclipse shape, and how did I create this eclipse shape? So let me hide these layers. So what you do is you click on this text, and then we're going to click on shape. All right, you click on shape here, and you choose this circular shape, this ellipse tool. You click on this, and then you hold like this. You just drag. All right, don't hold your shift, just drag. All right, you have something like this. So can you see this, guys? Okay, this shape is already clipped into the text. That's why it's revealing that way. So this is what the shape would look like normally. It's going to look like a normal shape like this, and then you click, your selection tool. The next thing you want to do is to click layer mask, add a layer mask to this shape, and then you go ahead to click on your gradient tool, letter G, make sure it's transparent, which is black 100% opacity and black 0% opacity, and then you hold your shift from the bottom, and then you create a gradient like this. You create a gradient like this, something like this, and then you click the V. I mentioned V, which is my keyboard, all right, but it's the selection tool. You click the selection tool, and then you have the shape on your text like this. Now, the next thing you go ahead to do is to right click on the ellipse shape, which is the circle shape you've just drawn. Now, you right click, and then you create a clipping mask. So what you want to do is you want to clip the shape inside of the text. So you create a clipping mask, and then you have something like this. So can you see this, guys? So this is the shape. I can move the shape up like this, and I can increase the size of the shape if I want to. I reduce the size of the shape if I want to, and then that's the shape. So that's how I created the shape. Now, the same thing again. I'm going to Ctrl J, duplicate. Now I take this up to the break. I'm going to increase the size this way, like this. Take it up. Yeah. I'm going to bring it up like this, and then create a clipping mask again. So this also clips inside of the break. So the idea is to give the text an amazing feel. But if you notice, you will see that the color blends well with the background. I'm not using a different color. The color of the shape is not different. It blends well with the background. So let me double click, let me change the color to something different. Imagine using a color like this. Let me see, kind of ash color that I can use, something not very cool. I'm trying to get an ash color. So imagine using a color like this. This color does not exactly blends well with the background. All right. So I intentionally made use of white. All right, that color, so that when I clip it, it's going to blend well with the background. So that's how you create that amazing manipulation feel on on your design. All right, on your text. All right, so that's how I created that. So I'm just going to click these ones that I've created. So, but for this particular text, the ellipse shapes, all right, I'm going to show you guys the color I used for the shape. So the first shape, which is for the free, I double click inside of it, and then I made use of this subtle, this color. Now the code F7D8D8. All right, that's the code, and then I'm going to show you guys for that of the brick, this particular one. Now this is F89D9D. all right, F89D9D. So that's the shape I used and the color code that I used. So that's how I created my text. Now we are done with the text layer. The next layer I go ahead to reveal is the ministers layer, which is this. You can see is the ministers layer, rightly positioned here. So I can move the image, all right, but rightly positioned here. All right, now the next shape I go ahead to reveal is this same shape, this same background that has this this hand with chain tied around the hand. All right, that same background, but again I erased the part that reveals the hand and the chain. So I just need the fire part of the background to reflect on my minister. So look at it. So this is it, but I want it to reflect on my minister so that it will blend with the background. So let me show you the difference. So this is without the background on the minister. Can you see how hard the the dress, all right, the suit and the tie of the minister is on this design? So adding this to the background gives it that blending effect. All right, so that's the idea behind it. And then the next layer is this break free layer, which is the break free image that I revealed to us. Now, so I'm going to disable this layer marks. All right, click on the layer marks and I'll disable the layer marks so that we can all see. Now, if you look at the blend mode, I changed the blend mode to color dodge. All right, so this is the normal blend mode, which is normal. And then remember, I said that the background, I added filter gallery. All right, so this is what the background looks like. Inserted it from the Pinterest application. Then I went ahead to add the gradient overlay. All right, I added gradient to it, and the idea behind adding gradient is so that the sharp edge of this background will not reveal. So look at it. So let me click on the brush tool. Okay. All right. So when you look at this bottom part, all right, when you look at this bottom part of this design, so when you look at this bottom part of this design, you're going to see the edge is sharp on this design, right? So I went ahead to add the gradient overlay. I'm going to enable so that it's going to blend well with my background. But guess what? I didn't just stop there. I went ahead to change the color, the blend mode. Before doing that, I added filter gallery because, like I said when I started this tutorial, I said that this background is kind of, the quality is not okay, it's blurry, so I needed to add the filter gallery, which is the smart blur filter. All right, so I'm going to show you guys. So how do you add smart blur filter? So let's assume this is not here. You click on the layer panel, you click on the filter panel, and then you click on filter gallery. All right, you click on filter gallery, and then you're going to see different filter gallery. But for me, you go to distort, and then you click on glass. All right, and you don't have to let it be too much. All right, something like this is okay, and then you click OK, and then when you click OK, it's going to reflect on your design. All right, so that's how I got the filter gallery with this glass effect on the chain. Now I went ahead to change the blend mode from normal. I used color dodge. Now immediately I used color dodge, the effect of this color dodge now reflects on the break. Now when you look at the layer of this chain, you are going to see that it's rightly above the text. This is our text here. You will see that our text is below the background, this break free background. But immediately we change the blend mode from normal to color dodge, you will see that effect reflecting on the text, this break free text. All right, so there are different blend modes here that you can use, but for me, I believe strongly, all right, that, so you can see this blend mode, but this blend mode does not exactly reveal the chain breaking, this divide blend mode. So I went ahead to use the color dodge blend mode, all right, which makes it look more amazing and gave more effect to the break text. If you look at it, you see that the break text now has this glass glowing effect. All right, that glass glowing effect. So I'm going to zoom in so you can see it has that glass glowing effect. So can you see that? All right, so now the next layer I'm going to reveal is the call to action layer, which is the CTA, and the call to action is the venue, the date and the time, and the fonts I made use of is the typeface I made use of is the Montserrat typeface, and I made use of different fonts. I made use of Montserrat bold. You can see 6 p.m. Montserrat bold, Friday Montserrat bold. I reduced the size, and then I created a rectangle to create, a demarcation between the venue and the date and the time, a slim rectangle shape. All right, and then for the venue, all right, for the venue I used two fonts. All right, so the first one I used for Grace Light Worship House is Montserrat bold, and then for the location I made use of Montserrat medium. So it's just to create hierarchy. All right, so it's to emphasize the Great Light Worship Center more, and then to emphasize it over the 23 Unity Avenue, which is the venue. All right, to create more emphasis on Grace Light Worship Center, saying that is the venue, that is the location, that is the all that this meeting will be held. All right, so that's the idea behind that. So that's the call to action, and then I have this fire effects here. All right, so I'm going to show you guys the fire effects. All right, so this is the fire effects. I'm going to show you guys what it looks like. So I'm going to change the blend mode. I changed it to color dodge, so let me change it to normal. So this is the fire effect. It's a black and white fire effect. All right, so let me click Ctrl Z. Yeah, so it's a black and white fire effect. All right, so I changed the blend mode from normal. I changed it to color dodge. From normal, I changed it to color dodge. So let me change this again to color dodge. So you have something like this. So this is normal. Let me change this to normal so I show you all. So this is the fire effect, but it is a smoky effect. So changing from normal to color dodge now makes it look like it's fire effect because of the background that we are using. The background we are using is red background. So changing the blend mode of this smoke effect to color dodge now makes the smoke effect looks like it's a fire effect. So can you see that fire, that fire effect at the bottom here? So, and I have 3 here, and the reason is because 1 wasn't enough. So this is what 1 looks like on the design. So it wasn't enough, so I added 1 more. And I saw that 2 also was not enough on the design, so I made it 3. All right, so you can see that flame, that the red yellow part of the fire, now evolving more. Now I also made use of 3D chromatic icon here. All right, so I'm going to show you guys what it looks like. So I'm going to change to normal so you see what a 3D chromatic icon looks like. So this is it. All right, so this is a 3D chromatic icon. So what I did was I also changed the blend mode from normal. All right, I changed the blend mode from normal, I think to screen, right? Yeah, so I changed the blend mode also so that it can blend well with the fire effect. And then the next thing, I went ahead to add the minister's name, Judah Rema, right? And I made use of the big shoulder typeface and big shoulder semi-bold, and then I did something here which I can't remember how I did it. All right, but I know I did something here. So this is more like a layer. Now I'm going to zoom in to this design so you can see, and I'm going to reveal this layer now so that you can see. Now once I reveal this layer, I did something here. So let me increase the opacity. The opacity is at 27, so let me increase the opacity. You will see I did something here that makes it looks like it has this rain is falling kind of feel. All right, this, but sincerely I can't remember how I achieved this. All right, I can't remember how I achieved this, but I know I did it. All right, but I can't remember how I achieved it. I'm still trying to remember how I achieved this. Maybe when I get to remember it, I'm going to show us in the next tutorial. All right, but another way you can do it, what the idea behind this is just to give it a more red feel. All right, there's nothing serious here. All right, if you notice, I reduced the opacity, so I can literally increase the opacity to more than 27, but it's going to look too much on the design. So this is it. So this is that layer. It's going to look too much on the design, so I had to reduce the opacity to about 27. So I can't really remember what I did there, but from what I just reviewed, I believe that we can manipulate our way to do something. And if you don't feel like putting it on your design, it's cool. It's not compulsory. It just gave the design another tone, all right, which looks beautiful to me. That was why I made use of it. All right, so the next thing I went ahead to do is to add the logo, which I've explained that it aligns with the letter F and the letter G. And then the next thing I went ahead to do is to add vibrance on my design. So the idea behind vibrance is to ensure that every element you use on your design blends together, has the same effect. So let me click on the vibrance. I used 46. The vibrance is 46. So if I make the layer of this vibrance invisible, you will see a difference. You might not see it very well, but there's a difference there. All right, so adding vibrance to this design ensures that it's as good as you saying you are I'm trying to look for a better word to explain this. Okay, so the word is not coming, but it's the idea behind vibrance is to ensure that the chain, the logo, the break, the background, the text, the venue, the guest minister, everything has that it blends together. So everything blends together. So that's the idea of vibrance. So, and how do you create vibrance? So once you are done with your overall design, you come to the top, and then you come to the top, and then you click on layer, and then you click new adjustment layer, and then you click vibrance, and then you click OK, and then you increase your vibrance. So let me increase this vibrance so that we can see what I mean. So can you see this? So the background of this design is red. So the vibrance ensures that everything on this design has that touch of red, blending everything together. So if this design, has two set of colors, all right, the vibrance will ensure that everything on this design blends with that two set of color. So the idea of vibrance is to blend everything, give it an overall blend. That's the idea of using vibrance on your design. So I went ahead to add vibrance on this design, and then you see the design looking so good, beautiful, and amazing. So this is how I created this design, guys. And yeah, I'm going to be making the resource file of this design available. You can check in the YouTube description of this video. You are going to see a link, the Google Drive, the link to download the resource files for this design. So I might not be making the image of the minister available, but I'm going to be making every other thing I made use of in this design available. So the idea is you can recreate, you can practice and create something different. As a graphic designer, the goal is not just to recreate the designs of other designers. The goal is to take it a step further, to practice and do something different from what that designer has done. Thank you so much, guys, for staying to the end of this tutorial. I believe that you learned something new, and I believe that you enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you all for staying tuned. Please, if you have not subscribed, please do well to subscribe, and please do well to like this video and drop a comment. Let me know what you think about this design in the comment section. I look forward to seeing your comments, and I'm going to reply every single comment. Every single comment I'm going to reply. Thank you so much, guys. See you guys in my next tutorial.